Hey guys, in this video we're going to make the definitive tier list for Mythic Heroes and just a little bit about me and my account. I'm VIP 12. I'm pushing for top medals every time in Void Invader, Valhalla, everything else that comes up. I'm getting ready for Champions Arena. I'm pushing for, first place in Arena and the server leaderboards. And as a VIP 12, I'm competing against a lot of VIP 14, 15, 16s who spent like 10x the amount I have. And so it forces me, I don't want to spend 10k, 20k plus on this game. So it forces me to take like a value heavy approach where I'm trying to make better decisions than the whales, because the whales aren't going to try hard as much as us because they can basically buy everything and buy time. And so I think this value heavy approach is very useful for anyone who's not whaling to gain an edge. And so in short, like, this list is basically trying to provide you the highest value heroes in the game. And value is subjective, and no, it's not subjective, but it does vary based on where you are in the game. So at the extreme end, if you're a mega whale, then I'm gonna assume you know people who spend that much money want to shine, and the way you shine is through medals in this game, right? So if you're an omega whale, your top tier list should just be the top 15 or top 25 PvP heroes in the game, because most of the modes in this game are PvP, and so it's just straight up a list of the top 15 or 25. Whereas if you move down a few rungs, like me, VIP 12, I can't afford to pick up every UR ultra rare in the game. I can only pick like one or two. So suddenly, as you start moving down, you start skewing more towards heroes that are providing you value across like a variety of game modes. It's not just pure PvP. And then when you move down to very light spenders and free to play, you're not competing for top placements at all. So you should almost be fully focused on the amount of resource value that heroes provide you, because you're playing the long game. You're trying to catch up to the whales, you know, over years after they quit. Side note, I don't recommend playing this game as pure free to play unless you like paying. Okay, so it's a sliding scale, but this list, in short, it's just basically the best heroes in the game, and I actually gave it a lot of thought, and I'm actually going to structure this list differently in multiple ways. But the first way I'm going to structure it is by removing heroes that we don't want. And so let me just remove the ultra rares really quick. And all of these ultra rares are very powerful. They range from S to A tier. I considered making a video about each UR, but URs are very specialized because you basically need to be a whale to max them out, and they cost double resources. So most accounts, even me at VIP 12, I mean, I started with Oda, so I have him very far ahead, but everyone else I don't even have within playing condition. You need to go like VIP 13, 14, use a lot of AOF, and buy like a lot of really bad value deals to get these ultra rares up. So maybe one day when I make like a full PvP tier list, I'll go ahead and bring them in, but I'm not really looking to do that right now, so we won't do that. And then next section, we're going to remove the C outclass heroes. And so here they are. One thing I will say about this game is it's pretty well designed. Every hero is like pretty much viable. So if you really like someone, if they resonate with your journey, go ahead and build them. I mean, don't build them like first off the board, but you can build them without hurting your account too much. All these heroes, I think they have their merits in certain spots, but keep in mind, every time you pick an inferior hero to build, it's taking resources from a better one, and those resources aren't infinite. So yeah, you could try building like Thor or Hercules. They're both like theoretically powerful when you max out their IW and everything. But try it, and then you might just burn your whole account. Like, you might burn a month of progress, doing that. So nobody really wants to do that. The few people who have done it haven't gotten great results. I'm not saying these heroes are horrible. they are usable, but they're outclassed for a reason, I would say. And after that, I'm going to move a few heroes here into the specialized section. So Dionysus is an interesting one. I think he's incredibly good the less you spend on the game, because he's very effective against bosses at a low investment level. And I run a bleeding edge, VIP 12 server first account, and then I run a free to play account as well. And in both accounts, Dionysus is, as the fifth person on your team, he's better than almost any hero, like pound for pound. And so he's like really good, but it's hard to figure out like where to build him. You would always build the S tier heroes above him, but you might not build the A tier heroes above him. So I would recommend just, don't focus him. If you do end up pulling copies, just doing regular summons, then, just build him up to a light level, and you might be surprised. He's very useful, but the main way he's providing value is through increasing your boss rewards, which can increase through, Muse passives. They can increase through more tries, and so and then they compound every day and snowball, because you get more rewards, which lets you build your heroes faster, which lets you get more rewards. And so, people are really underrating how valuable it is to progress in certain modes like bosses. And you'll find Dionysus at the top of, every Soul Steel Soul Seal boss ranking. Guild boss, he's just usable in basically every boss. And then Artemis and Chiron, they're both very PvP specialized. I would say they're hard outclassed in PvE, and so you should only build them if you're going for PvP and you plan to, to put in some work there. But they're basically S tier in PvP, so just keep that in mind. Uh, you need to spend around like early you can get away with like VIP 8, VIP 9, but you need to spend like at least a few hundred, more than that probably, to be like really competitive in PvP. And then once you get past that point, like the recruits of Olympus, and you've kind of built your account, you need to then decide, am I going to spend that extra 500, 1K to fight for the top PvP spots? And then that's when Artemis and Chiron kind of, become important there, because they're going to form your like third and fourth squads. They're not going to form your main squad. So just keep that in mind. And then with that, yeah, let's start building the tier list now that we have the heroes. And so I put a lot of thought into this, and I decided the way I'm actually going to structure this is the S tier is going to be must builds of each color. And so we're going to start off with number one pick on the board, maybe the best hero in the game, and that's going to be Odin for Luminarchs, lights, yellow. Odin is just basically overpowered. He has, there's not that many great tanks in the game, but he's a part of S tier comps in PvE, PvP, and against raids. He has a number of important debuffs against the opponent too. He's just super good. And then for red, I'm going to take Hela, Shadow Arcs. She has a passive aura that buffs lifesteal, which is much better than pure healing. She's the only hero who provides this. Plus, she provides a damage shield, which pretty much no other hero provides either. So that combo just makes her super strong. And then for blue Guardians, we're going to take Archimedes, probably the best carry in the game right now, other than a few exceptions. Just a very good hero. And all of the S tier heroes are parts of top tier comps in all game modes. And then finally, I will close with Freya for green, Viridian, and she has the aura to fighters and tanks right off the start of the battle. She has true damage, but she's just super good in this fighter meta. And then finally, there's going to be one final S tier hero, and it's going to be Western Queen. And I think Western Queen is so you don't want to build her over Odin. You want to split resources between her and Odin, but focus on Odin first, so that, because you don't want her to be the strongest power. The way her ult works is she targets she targets your strongest hero with her passive, and then the alt buffs that too. So you never want her to be the absolute strongest, but she's just too good in every mode. Um, and then after this wave of colors, initially I wanted to find more must builds within uh, the S tier section, but I was actually unable to. And what ended up happening instead was I ended up finding three three heroes of each color after this, and I didn't even plan it, to be this way, but it just ended up happening. And so, but I think it's actually really cool because the way this guide ends up being structured is you take your S tier heroes and then you just build them up, right? And then after that, you have three A tier heroes of each color uh, to build up if you choose. But if I choose to, back test this this uh, this list against itself, right? So these are the A tier heroes, and then here I am, filling out the B tier heroes after that as well, right? I forgot to put her down here. Um, so let me just quickly do this. And this list is a bit different from the previous one um, that I did for each color, because B tier doesn't mean bad necessarily. It just means the heroes are more niche. Like for example, heroes like Nephthys, Leonidas, I even have like strong arguments to be A even, like Zeus. In certain modes, they're actually like A tier or even better, and they can definitely shine. So the point isn't to say like they're bad, but the point is to say uh, I do think the S tier heroes outclass the A tier heroes mostly in terms of what you should build first. And then I think the A tier heroes definitely outclass the B tier heroes um, in terms of build priority. So if you're like a new account, you should just start, from the top row and then just kind of look down at, in terms of like ordering what to build. And even if you're an existing account and you've built some like whack heroes from the past, you should just look through this, and it's not too late to like change your course and play right. So if you look at like Artemis, sorry, not Artemis, Athena and Zeus and Anubis and Hades, would you take an Athena over one of these three? Highly doubtful. Same with Zeus, highly doubtful. Would you take any of these red heroes over Faust or Loki or Medusa? Probably not. Um, I wouldn't. One note about Cassandra is she's super good. Actually, Medusa and Cassandra is they're both S tier in PvE. Medusa might be like the best PvE hero. She's not as good in the other modes, which is why I couldn't put her at S. Um, and then Cassandra, when you start pushing high stage levels, the deficit gets really high. So sometimes your enemy starts just whacking out your backline within seconds, or they might have a hook, or they might have like an assassin. And in those spots, Cassandra gives you value because she heals when she dies, where no other hero can. So I think she's super good, but I couldn't push her as, the second blue off the board when you have, Idun and Naga waiting as healers too. Just couldn't argue for that. Mirasaki's pretty new, but I have a feeling she'll end up pretty good. Plus, you still get the rewards for building her right now. Maybe this will change later, but right now she's showing up in all of the top damage meters for multiple trials. I think she can carry for a new player account. So if I was a new player, I would build her first, tunnel her as my carry. And yeah, these green heroes are good, these blue heroes are good, these red heroes are really good, these yellow heroes are really good. But I just can't advocate saying, as soon as you build these five, you should auto build, Medusa and, YSS after. So the way this guide would work is you would pick these four colors, you would build them up, and then around that time you should have multiple copies. And around that time you'll need to build another team for Elite Campaign and then eventually Void Invader. And so you would pick, the carry based on what you pulled and kind of build your team out there, pulling, mixing and matching heroes from A tier. And I think a few of these do have an argument to move to S tier. Um, Even the B tier heroes, like I was saying, like Nephthys, Persephone, Leonidas, Poseidon, Zeus, like they have these niches that can be very powerful. And then the A tier heroes have niches that can be even more powerful. Like Apollo is someone I could definitely see as S, but I'm just not comfortable saying you should tunnel onto him when there's so many other, viable carries. Susanoo can do Susanoo and Faust can both do things that no other hero can, but I'm not comfortable saying, you should tunnel into them right after. YSS is like probably the second best tank in the game. I can't say, you should auto build him when, you could have pulled 6 copies of Leonidas like I did, or, Hades or Athena. So I'm really happy with this list overall. And then I'm also going to put Morgan in A tier here. She's the new hero. She's looking really strong so far, but the jury's out. But like I said, you still get the rewards from the event going on with her right now. It's a bit of a cop-out, but Morgan and Murasaki are very good. If you look at this list overall, like the Freyas and the Odins and the Gabriels, and a lot of these heroes are newer heroes, Loki, and so there is some, definitely some power creep going on here. Aladdin was pretty whack, but most of the new heroes, Titanium was kind of whack, but most of the new heroes, Chiron's really good in PvP. They're going to be stronger than the older ones. So I think most new heroes are going to finish in the B or A tier, but Morgan's looking really strong. Murasaki's looking pretty good too. So yeah, I'm very happy with this list overall. As a quick bonus, for the URs, I think Typhon's like the only B. I think almost all of the others are S or A, depending on how heavy you value PvP. But I think they're basically all A or S, depending on how heavy you value PvP. Like Marduk, Lilith, and Lucifer are 3 of the best, PvP heroes in the game. Retsu is very good in the magic trials, like maybe number 1. Very good in PvP, very good in PvE. She might be S. These 2 supports are incredibly good. So is Nua. I mean, they're A or S because they're super good in every mode. And then Oda, I'm just going to give an S because I'm biased and leave it there. So I would love to hear your comments. But thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed the tier list. I'm pretty confident this tier list is much better than any of this other content out there.